Matter. Today we will carry on with the chapter Matter, and today our topic is states of matter. Now you have seen an ice cube, you have also seen water. Why ice cube is different from water? What are the differences you can see between an ice cube and water? You have seen Coca-Cola or a Pepsi. You have also seen your textbook. What's the difference between a Coca-Cola and Pepsi? What are the causes which are responsible for the difference? That's all which we will try to study today. The physical state of any substance is determined by three factors: the magnitude of interparticle force of attraction, the randomness of motion of the particles, and the magnitude of interparticle space. Now let's see what we try to mean by all these things. When we are talking about physical state, we are talking about the difference in the appearance of an ice cube and water or water vapor. Now you have already studied in your primary classes and you have heard about the words solid, liquid and gas. You will tell me ice cube is solid, water is liquid, water vapor is gas. So what makes a substance solid? What makes a substance liquid? What makes it a gas? That's what you will be studying in this chapter, especially in this topic. Now, the matter is made up of particles. We have already studied that. And between these particles, there is a force of attraction. The force of attraction is not same in all the particles. The force of attraction varies from one particle to another. And the magnitude of interparticle force of attraction, this is responsible for making a substance solid, for making a substance liquid. Rather, this is just one of the factors. It's not all alone it is responsible. There is some other factors also which play a part. The second factor which is important is the randomness of motion of the particles. The particles in matter are in a constant state of movement. They are moving in from one place to another and they are showing a haphazard, random, zigzag movement. There is no pattern to that movement. Now this movement of particles, this randomness in the motion of particles is also responsible for some substances being solid, some being liquid and some being gas. The third factor which is responsible is the magnitude of interparticle space. Now between any two particles of matter, there is some amount of space. This space is not fixed. In some particles the space is less, some particles or some matter the space is more. So what is the amount of that space, that quantitative value of that space? That will determine whether a substance will be solid, liquid or gas. So all these three factors together decides the state of a substance, the physical state of a substance, that is whether it's solid, liquid or gas. So we have come to know that matter can exist in any of these three states: solid, liquid and gas. We have tried to show you the particle arrangement in these substances. So if you can see here, in solid the particles are fixed in their places, okay, and there is a regular arrangement of the particles. Obviously there is some interparticle space here. We have, in the diagram we have minimized the space between the solid particles. The space is very little. The liquids, the particles are scattered all about. They are not regularly arranged. They are close packed but not regularly arranged, and these particles are free to move about, and there is also some interparticle space. In gases, the particles are again not regularly arranged and they are all over the place, and the interparticle space between the gases is more. So this is how the particle arrangement of a solid, liquid or gas looks like. Now we will study about the different properties of solid. The first property, solids have a definite shape and a definite volume. The second one, solids are rigid. And the third, particles of solids are closely packed, vibrating about a fixed position. So if you look into the first property, your book, your pencil box, your pencil, pens, the chairs and the tables which you use in your classrooms, maybe they all have a definite shape and a definite volume. It's not there on Monday the shape of the table is something and on Tuesday the shape changes. Your friend can pull the table and change its volume. These things don't happen. So these are solids, they have a definite shape and a definite volume. And solids are rigid, so you can't compress them, or you cannot distort their shapes very easily. You have to apply a lot of pressure maybe to distort their shape. Particles of solid, just now we saw in that diagram previously, they are very closely packed, they are very close to one another, and they are not static as in the diagram, they vibrate about a fixed position. Now we move on to the next state of matter, that's liquid. Now what are the properties of liquid? The first property, liquids have no definite shape but have a definite volume. Now what does it mean? You can take a glass of water and pour it into a bowl. The shape of the water in the bowl will be very different from the shape of the water in the glass. You can take the water from the bowl and pour it into another container having a different shape. So whatever is the shape of the container, the shape of the water becomes that. So the water does not have a definite shape. But the volume of water is fixed. That means what? If you have taken 100 milliliter of water from the glass and poured it in the bowl, the shape of water changed, but the volume of water still remains 100 milliliter. The volume of water has not increased or decreased until and unless you have not spilled some water out of the vessel, out of the bowl while pouring in. Again, when you have transferred the water from the bowl to another container, maybe your water bottle or anything, the shape of the water has undergone a change, but the volume of water still remains 100 milliliter. The next property, liquids can flow. That means liquids can flow from one place to another. They can move from one place to another. You have seen it a lot. You have experienced it. Just pour some water on the floor. The water does not remain static in the place where you poured it. It moves about in the flow and spreads all over as much as it can depending on the amount of water which you have poured. But if you take your book and put it in the floor, the book does not start moving about in the floor. It remains in the place where it has been placed. So solids do not flow, but liquids can flow. They have only one free surface. So when you pour the liquid in a bottle of water, the top surface, that's the free surface. The other surface are confined. Properties of gaseous state of matter. So this is the third state of matter, that's a gaseous state, and an example of it is air. And many other gases which you know by the name now, like carbon dioxide and oxygen and nitrogen. These are name of some of the gases. So you have one task here. Take a paper and write down the name of as many gases you know. So properties of the gaseous state of matter. The first property, gases have no definite shape and no definite volume. So they don't have a shape, defined shape, neither they have a defined volume. Like if you take a balloon, blow in some air there, the balloon blows up, becomes bigger in size, and it takes a particular shape. The shape of the air becomes the shape of the balloon. Now if you transfer that air to another balloon, you will see that balloon taking up a different shape, and the volume of the balloon will also can change. And if you just let go of the gas, it just moves about and mixes with the air, and it attains a different volume. So it does not have a fixed volume also. Particles of gases are very far apart and move freely. We have shown you in the diagram before, the gas molecules are very far apart from one another and they can move freely all over the place. Gases can be compressed. So you can decrease the space between the particles and bring the particles closer, and thus decrease the volume occupied by the gases. Now we will do a comparative study of a solid, liquid and gas. The first property is the shape. A solid has a definite shape, a liquid has no definite shape, and a gas has no definite shape. So we already discussed, a pencil has a defined shape, but water does not have any definite shape. It takes place the shape of the container. Even gas does not have the definite shape. It takes place the shape of the container or where it is kept. Volume. The next property. A solid has a definite volume, a liquid has a definite volume, and a gas has no definite volume. So you can take any solid, the volume will always be fixed. It won't keep changing on its own. A liquid's volume also does not change on its own, but a gas, the volume can change. It does not have definite volume. The next one is packing of particles. So now what we have done, we have gone inside the solid and we are looking at the particles in the solid. Now the particles in the solid are very closely packed. So they are very nearer to one another. There is practically very little gap between the particles. The liquid is less closely packed. The particles in a liquid are also comparatively closer to one another, but compared to that of solid, they are less closer to one another. In gas, the particles are least closely packed. So the particles are far away from one another in a gas. Free surface. A solid can have any number of free surface. Actually, the number of free surface, that's the number of surface which you can see in a substance, depends on the shape of the solid. If you take an irregular solid like a cube has 6 free surface. A cuboid also has 6 free surface. So it will depend on the shape of the substance of the solid. A liquid has 1 free surface. That's a top surface which is open to you, from where you will be pouring off the liquid. That's the top surface, is the free surface, while a gas has no free surface. Now we move on to the next set of properties. The first one, fluidity. So here we are talking about whether a substance can flow or cannot flow. A solid does not flow. A liquid can flow and a gas can flow. That means a liquid can move over all over the place. Even a gas can move over, but the solid remains in its own place. It does not move over from one place to another. Rigidity. A solid is highly rigid. A liquid is less rigid compared to the solid, and a gas is not rigid at all. The next property, intermolecular space. The intermolecular space, that means the space between the particles of a molecule. The the intermolecular space in solids is minimum. So the particles are very close to one another. So the intermolecular space in solids are very minimum. In liquids, the intermolecular space is more than the solid but less than the gases. And in gas, the intermolecular space is maximum. So the intermolecular space increases the most, is most in the gases. Now we go into the next property, intermolecular force of attraction. Intermolecular force of attraction is maximum in solids. As the particles are closer together, the force of attraction is also high. In liquid, the intermolecular force of attraction is less than solids but more than gases, while in gas, the intermolecular force of attraction is minimum. I hope you understood. Intermolecular force of attraction is also known as interparticle force of attraction. And what it means? It means about the force of attraction existing between any two particles, neighboring particles more specially, in a substance. So in solid it is maximum, in gas it is minimum, and liquids lies between solid and gas. The next property, diffusion. Gases can diffuse easily. Solids cannot diffuse. Solids do not undergo diffusion very easily. It's not very common. Okay. Some instances are there. You may see a little bit of diffusion, but it's hardly common. Liquids show diffusion. Liquids also can diffuse. And do you remember the definition of diffusion from your previous topic? What is diffusion? Can you write it down? You can pause the video and try recalling the definition and write it down in a rough copy out there or in a piece of paper. The last property, compressibility. Solids are incompressible. The space between the particles of the solid is so less that you cannot bring the particles closer together. So as the intermolecular space is very less, you cannot bring the particles more closer to one another. So a solid cannot a solid becomes incompressible. Now in liquids also, the space, intermolecular space or interparticle space is little more than the solids, but it's not large enough. So liquids are also not easily compressible. They are compressible to a very small extent. And in gas, as the intermolecular space is large enough, the gas is highly compressible. They can be compressed very easily, or they can be compressed to a greater extent. So the particles can be brought down closer to one another by application of pressure, or even by reducing the temperature, and you can reduce the interparticle space between the molecules in a gas. Now we have learnt about the difference in properties of solid, liquid and gas. So you have one task here. We would like you to design an experiment to prove that a solid has a definite volume. So design an experiment to prove that a solid has a definite volume. So that's one of your experiments, and you have a second experiment to prove that liquids can flow. Design an experiment to prove liquids can flow. Now what type of questions may come from this part of the chapter? You may be asked to write the difference in the properties between a solid and a liquid, or a liquid and a gas, or a solid and a gas, or even compare the properties between solid, liquid and gas. You will be asked about to explain the reason for a solid having a definite shape, a liquid having a definite shape, no definite shape, or why a solid is not compressible while a liquid is compressible, why a gas can diffuse while a solid cannot diffuse. So you will have to explain the reason for all the properties which are shown by the solid, liquid and gas. So some of these have been explained. So we expect you to try, be a scientist, a mini scientist out there, and try and find out the reason between the properties shown by these three states of matter. In the next part, we will discuss about the reasons.